Steve, how is Gary doing with the illness and now the elbow?
He's good. He's ready to play.
And what are some of the challenges they present in terms of like defensive matchups, how you match up with Randle and Gobert?
A lot of size. Obviously, Ant is the key. It creates a lot of problems. And when he breaks the defense down, they have a lot of three-point shooting. And then Gobert, inside is a lob threat and, offensive rebounds. So it's a great challenge for our defense.
Steve, this past summer, you guys had a mission and a goal in mind. Obviously, that's so much of the singular focus for the team to win the gold. But in the course of the Olympic competition, what was kind of your role and the coaching staff's role in improving Anthony Edwards, imparting the knowledge of that collective group to make him a better player?
Yeah, we're not taking any credit for that. He was already an incredible player. I think, honestly, the USA basketball experience, what makes it so valuable is the players' interaction with each other. You've got best players on earth, 6 weeks, every day, film sessions, practice, post-practice, one-on-one. It's the interaction with those guys that I think leads to improved play, improved games. In Ant's case, he's after practice every day. He's shooting against, LeBron and Kevin and talking trash. And you could tell they just had so much fun together. But I always think the USA basketball experience it really lends itself to sort of building a championship mindset. And it's such a different experience from a 8-month NBA grind. It's just 6 weeks. And so what I always say is all the NBA BS goes out the window, and it's just what do we have to do to win? And I think that learning experience, that vibe that the players have for those 6 weeks really serves every one of them well, once the NBA season starts back up.
Steve, Buddy certainly doesn't have a reputation as a top defensive player, but
he's changing that.
I was going to say,
yeah, he's a stop. Buddy is our stopper.
There you go. Okay, that's all I need to know.
All right.
How much responsibility have you given him in these playoffs? Obviously, you put him in the starting lineup Game 7, and how has he done with this maybe added responsibility on defense?
He's done great. He's strong. He's quick. He can stay in front of people. I thought he did a really good job both on Jalen Green and Van Vleet, during the Houston series. And, he's going to have to guard Ant some in this series, which is as big a challenge as there is. But he's not afraid, and he's strong, and he's doing a really good job of just following the game plan, staying in front, and making things as tough as possible. I think the biggest thing, honestly, with Buddy is to finish the possession. He had several plays in that Houston series where loose ball and he's trying to bounce it to himself and he didn't grab it. We're trying to teach him to, especially in the playoffs, like you have to secure that ball. The ball is everything. And that's kind of his next step. He's playing well defensively, but he's got to finish the possession with a loose ball, with the long rebounds, and help us in that possession game.
Steve, back here. Hi. How do you reflect on Dante's 1 year with you and what he brought to the team, and how much you can sort of recall him interacting with Steph? And he's talked again today about that experience, not just playing with the Warriors, but being around Steph a lot and learning from him.
Well, I love coaching Dante. He's one of those guys who just goes all out every game. That's why he became a fan favorite at Chase immediately that year. And it was a great experience for him and for us. We signed him knowing that he was going to go back into the free agent market. And the idea was, we'll give you a chance to play and to improve your market. And you can come here and help us win. And it's exactly what happened. We really counted on him. He played a big role for us. We got to the conference semis, and then he improved his market and signed with the Knicks, and here he is now. So this is how it should work. You want, if you have a short-term signing, you want it to work for everybody, and I think that one did. As for his relationship with Steph and what he learned, I'm only half joking when I say this. He learned to shoot every time he's open. And he was a little gun shy, honestly, when we got him, just a little bit. I mean, he didn't. I don't think he fully let loose. And meeting Steph and seeing Steph's mentality, I would guess you could ask him. I never asked him about it, but I thought after he left us, he went to the Knicks. Now here, he's just launching, and I think he should. He's a hell of a shooter, and obviously, his threes are momentum shots, and so I think he did learn that from Steph.
Steve, do you see any similarities with the way the Wolves use Randle and Gobert and how the Rockets use Sengun and Adams? Is there any carryover? No,
I don't see the similarities. I think they're all very different players. Randall's been playing really well, obviously. He's always been a talented offensive player. And Gobert is, a huge part of the success here and getting to the conference finals last year and, being here today, one of the great defenders in the league. So they're both fine players and but very different from what we just saw.
Steve, given that you guys just 48 hours away from a physically, emotionally draining series, are you on guard early on for fatigue or, just being drained and not being able to get up? Or do you notice any of that early on?
I'm not really on guard for that. I expect us to come out and play with a lot of energy. I think we're so excited to be here and to get out of that series with Houston and have this new opportunity to start a new series. And I'm not that concerned with fatigue. Now, if I see it, then yeah, I'll do something about it. But I think we'll be ready to play.
A lot of, Houston's offense obviously went through Sengun, but they don't have kind of maybe the star perimeter scorer that you're about to face. How does the fact that they have Edwards change how you have to approach defensively and maybe all the different stuff you have to do?
Yeah, it's a different type of series, different type of pick and roll. Houston was their pick and roll. They're trying to get the ball to Sengun in the pocket, and then he's going to make a play. They're not really Minnesota's not trying to get the ball in the pocket to Gobert. He's diving to the rim. And so it's a much more traditional pick and roll defensive series for us in terms of, trying to guard Ant and others in pick and roll. And then whatever our coverage is, executing that coverage. But it's much different than what we saw with Houston, and we'll have to adapt to that quickly.
As much talked about, in Game 5 against Houston, that how quickly you did pull your guys. Was that plan going in, and how different would it be from this when we're seeing it could be an accumulation of tired, and you're not talking like that at all? How different is this from a game like that?
Feels very different to me. I don't have that sense at all that we're going into this game, scared of our fatigue and willing to sort of, give our guys a break and a rest and wait till next game. I don't think we have the luxury of doing that. I think when you're up 3-1 and you're on the road and you sense that your guys are tired, that's a little different deal. But having said that, if we're down 45 mid-third, I'm pulling my guys. So.
Steve, it's been almost 4 months over here. Almost 4 months since you guys have played the Timberwolves. Obviously, it was pre-trade, all 4 matchups. Is there anything you take away? I know the Timberwolves have played a lot better since, but, any time.
Yeah, it's funny the last couple of days watching those games just to see our starting lineup. It's I don't recognize any of those guys, now. We had such a different roster back then. Minnesota was largely the same, but they're playing a lot better now. I think the main stuff that we took from those games was just matchups and, how individual guys on our team guarded, their guys individually and what some of the matchups might look like in this series, but not a whole lot to take. Thank you.
Chris, I think in the past you've hoped for a well-lubricated crowd in these situations. I guess from your vantage point, year one on the job to now, how have you seen this crowd and this atmosphere kind of grow with this team?
Well, starts from ground zero, really. I mean, when I arrived here, it was COVID, so there was, only several thousand fans, allowed in the building, and that was if they wanted to come. And yeah, it's just gone from strength to strength. It's an amazing sports town, unbelievable fan base. They get behind you. They're always following you. And it's just one of the loudest arenas that I've ever played in. It's got tight sight lines, and fans are right on top of you. It's how it should be. And we're hoping for another great environment tonight, led by us. Where we can spark that energy. So.
Now that you guys have had a little time to digest round one and the way you were able to have late game execution in games 3 through 5 to win it, what stood out to you, especially considering in the regular season that wasn't always the strength of your team?
Just winning the possession game down the stretch, I think, didn't have turnovers, really. We just didn't. And I think Anthony had only maybe 6 or 7 turnovers for the entire series. So that was huge. A lot of that down the stretch we'd struggled with in the regular season, and then giving up second chance opportunities on the other end. So it's really hard to win those games when that's kind of the where you're starting from. So I thought we did both those things pretty well. And then offensively, I think we knew where we were trying to go before we started to go. So, that hadn't always been the case. So.
What are some keys to sustaining that, limiting turnovers against a defense that's been really good at forcing them in the second half?
Yeah, I think it's just, avoiding the crowd. These guys do a really good job of swarming you and crowding you in the paint. They come get you deep in the paint, right around the rim. They take charges. There's always going to be bodies there. Their on-ball competitiveness is at a high level, very handsy. And so, yeah, you gotta make the early play against these guys.
Julius was able to kind of target mismatches in the last series and really attack them. Do you see similar ways for him to attack this series, or is this a different series for him?
Yeah, I mean, there might be opportunities for him to attack, quote unquote mismatches, but we feel pretty confident putting the ball in his hands for scoring and playmaking opportunities, regardless of who's on him. We're not going to shy away from him because they might have a great defender on him. We trust him. His touches have led to some of our best and most consistent offense. So we'll see a lot of evolution in the series, as you usually do, and then we'll kind of try to read off of that. But yeah, every confidence that he's going to make the right play.
Your offense has diversified quite a bit over the course of the season.
Yeah.
Is most of that continuing? Do you just let them play and figure it out, or do you think you put a little more structure and system into it coming into games?
Well, I think we did get a little bit more structure as the season unfolded around some of the things that we were trying to do. That's just normal. Some things you come into a season with, they don't really work, even though you think they're going to be great. So you have to, get rid of that. I think in the playoffs, defenses are pretty well defined. They kind of stake their claim. You know what they're trying to do. They're telling you right away what they're trying to do. I think our coaching staff has done an amazing job of preparing our guys for that. And as this series unfolds, we think we know what might be coming, but we don't know. So just staying adaptable there. And, I think that's where having a somewhat flexible offense has gone through several evolutions helps you, because you've got things you can draw on to. So.
Chris, given what you guys need from Anthony Edwards offensively, how much does that factor into using him defensively, the energy and everything, specifically against somebody like Curry?
Well, we always preach to Ant that his path to being the best version of himself is being one of, if not the best two-way player in the league. And, of course, during the regular season, there's times where we try to put him on a matchup where it might be less taxing for him, but that's for the regular season. Right now, he takes whatever matchup we need him to. Case in point, last series, we felt that Austin Reeves was key to taking out of the series, and Ant just basically stuck to him pretty much as he possibly could. So, he doesn't get a free pass at this time of the year. He doesn't want a free pass at this time of the year. So, he's going to take whatever matchup is out there, and it could be any of those guys, So.
Chris back here. When you think of watching Dante DiVincenzo from afar earlier in his career, what's been the biggest growth in his play since 4, 5, 6 years ago?
Well, I would say this about Dante, everyone talks about his shooting, how great of a shooter he is, and he certainly is. He's got incredible range, and he's turned a lot of games around with his shooting. But I just see him as an incredible overall basketball player. Like, he didn't shoot the ball well in the Lakers series at all, but I thought he made probably more small winning plays than almost anybody else on our team in a lot of different ways, defensively, offensively. So I would think just finding ways to contribute when his shot's not going in. Like, I have every confidence that he's going to make winning plays out there. That's been key for us.
Chris, a couple of days ago, Rudy had mentioned to us that this team had a tendency in the past to kind of relax when they hear good things said about them in the press. What have the conversations been like about that, and how well equipped now do you feel this team is to kind of block out that noise and just focus on the moment?
Yeah, I mean, it's human nature. It's down to them as a group to block it out. I thought we did a pretty good job last series of it. But we'll see. I know they're ready to play. I know they're ready to play. It's been an interesting few days, not knowing who you're going to play, and then figuring out who you're going to play. So I know they're ready to play. So hopefully, they keep that same edge that they had. So.
Following up on the question about Dante, I know he's had stops between Golden State and here, but I mean, what do you think when you look at their team? Kind of transfers over from his game to like what you're seeing, from them in the scouting.
So what he was able to do with them that he still does with us?
Yeah.
I just think his off-ball IQ is very high, and again, we talk about a lot of movement and off-ball execution in Golden State is probably best in the league that has ever seen. And just knowing how to play, knowing how to space, knowing how to cut, knowing how to play off of others so well. I think that's in our system too, we're not as quite as movement based as, let's say, a Golden State, but you still need high IQ guys that can make plays without the ball in their hands, and that's where he fits really well with us. So, thank you.